Welcome
Can you hear
viewers
me?
to yet another interesting session. It's going to be with Jasneet Kaur, co-founder, in fact, the founder at Habits Over Diets. She's a nutritionist and a habit change coach with clients in over about a dozen countries. And it's always a pleasure talking to you, Jasneet, because every time I have a session with you, I chat with you, I take back home few points to work upon. Thank you very much for these lively sessions.
Thank you, Narinder, for welcoming me and for that nice introduction. And I guess, yeah, that's the whole point of getting together and talking about these things that most of us are concerned about, worried about. But the idea is that how can we give you few things to think about and few things to act on.
Yeah. So today's topic that we've chosen is the top 3 habits to build our immunity, to increase our immunity, to work on it, right? So, but before I do that, and before you do that and give your feedback on what we are asking from you, we are seeking from you, I see a lot of healthy people also succumbing, so how much can we control falling sick?
Yes, that's a great question, Narinder, because sometimes you feel that, so-and-so is very healthy and, that person also fell sick and had really bad symptoms. And then you start questioning that, are you on the right track? Are you doing things that you need to do? And therefore you start questioning your behaviors. So let's talk about, what you can control. Let's talk about spheres of control before we get into the whole topic of how to build better immunity.
Okay.
Right. So I feel that there are, you cannot control fully whether you will catch a virus, you will catch a cold, you will catch a flu or not. Right. You also cannot control fully that when and if you were to catch it, then how would your body react to it? Right. Because there are several, factors that go into the response that your body produces, many of which are outside your control. So it's also important to zoom out and just look at the big picture here, that there are a lot of factors that are outside our control. For example, our age, right? Or the place where we live, or our exposure to different pathogens, right? Or our past immunity or our past exposure to pathogens. A lot of them we cannot control. So it's important to know that there are things you can control, there are things you can't control. And as always, we focus on the things that we can control. Why? Because inside, when you make daily behaviors, daily habits, and you work on them, you can create a meaningful difference in your immune response. And B, you feel more in control, right? Because when there is uncertainty, that leads to more stress and anxiety. But when you focus on doing constructive behaviors, you can lessen some of that stress and anxiety. You can feel more in control and you feel more ready to take on things if and when they were to happen.
Very well said. Very true.
And then before we get into this topic, I would like to point out that, the reason we said top 3 habits is because immunity, we can talk about habits and behaviors all day. It's vast, right? Our human body is complex. It's vast. There is no single thing or single hack or single vitamin or single potion or kada or, any single thing that can help, suddenly help us, improve our immunity. Even amongst behaviors, there's no single behavior, but we'll talk about 3 basic behaviors today, right? Because our body is far too complex. It is multifactorial, and it's important to remember that everything happens contextually. So you work on the right behaviors, but you also focus on, doing what you can instead of feeling that, you're constantly doubting yourself.
Right.
So yeah, does that answer your question about, healthy people falling sick?
Correct. Yes, very true. So then now we come to the main topic of the day, which is the top 3 habits, that we can work upon. So over
Yes.
to you.
Okay, Ji. Thank you, Narinder. So I would say the first thing that we need to remember when we think of our immunity is that where inside your body is the maximum immune response happening. Okay, that happens inside your gut. Okay, this whole area, which starts from your stomach, your including your small intestine, then your large intestine, ending at the colon. That is your gut, and that whole place is where 70% of the body's immune responses happen. Right. So our first, what do we say, line of control would be to focus on this, like, Pareto principle, you follow on 70%. Where is the biggest difference that you can make, right? Which is where a nutrition for your gut can be very, very, very helpful in helping you have better immune response, right? Now, we can have a 2-hour workshop on nutrition for the gut, and even that won't be enough. But we'll talk about basics today, right? We'll talk about high level today, and what we have time for, right? So the first is I want you to picture, or all the audience who are also tuning in, I want you to picture your gut as a factory. Okay, your gut is like a factory. It has about 100 trillion bacteria, fungi, viruses moving around and working day in and day out on different aspects, including digestion, absorption of minerals, immune response, hormone, response, tons of functions that these bacteria do. Another thing I want you to picture is that your gut is probably a little heavier than your brain, okay, even in terms of the weight. So and I'm talking just about the gut bacteria, not the organs here. So the gut bacteria is about, if you were to pick up all these 100 trillion bacteria out and you were to weigh them, they weigh about 1.5 to 2 kilos in an average adult body. Yeah. Can you imagine? I think I'll have a 2 kilo dumbbell somewhere here. So, yeah, this much. That's the weight. Because it's important to picture this. That's the weight of these bacteria, funguses, and virus who exist inside your gut, keeping you safe, getting your body functioning and digesting food, right? Your job, and they are your biggest immune factory. They are your soldiers in your immune system. They're the soldiers. So your job as a human being is to care for them, help the right kind of bacteria reproduce, and remove, the bacteria that you don't need, to have lesser of them, right? So as you develop that picture in your mind that you have all of these gut bacteria doing different jobs, what happens is, as diverse as your food, including color, type, fiber, fiber is that part of our diet, which is used to move the food along our gut, but we don't digest it, we don't absorb it, it doesn't become a part of us, right? It helps move the food along the whole, gut, and then help us excrete it. That's the role of fiber. But this fiber is the food of these bacteria that live inside our gut. So the first job to help us improve our immune response would be to eat a fiber-rich diet, right? So that the correct kind of bacteria are getting their food on time, and they are well nourished, and they are not overstressed, and they are not dying. Because one of the things that happens is that when we don't eat enough fiber, and also one of the things interesting fact quickly, is that our gut bacteria diversity has already reduced by about 50% in the last 100 years. Okay, so our ancestors, because they were eating more whole foods, more coarse grains, and lesser processed foods, they had a far higher diversity of their gut bacteria than us. So how can we improve our diversity? Is by eating more fiber-rich foods. Because if we don't give our bacteria enough fiber, these bacteria are left with no choice but to eat the lining of our gut. They literally eat the intestinal lining, and which is what leads to problems like leaky gut, inflammation, inflamed gut, IBS, and tons of other related gut problems, and then also stress-related chronic diseases. So that is number one. That eat more fiber, include, and it doesn't have to be, we don't have to go on this whole I am a healthy fiber eating person. We can make simple decisions. For example, choosing to eat, even if you eat a pizza, choose a whole wheat pizza over a maida pizza. Choose whole wheat bread over regular bread. And of course, if you're already doing these, then what's the next step is that you include more coarse grains, include more millets, jaw, bajra, jawar, right, ragi, amaranth. Include more of these because they give you more fiber, they are more coarse, the body takes more effort to digest them, and our gut bacteria are happier, and they are getting more diversity rather than just eating wheat and rice, right? That would be number one. Number two is that your the biggest the second top source of fiber is vegetables and fruits in your diet, right? And fruits and vegetables are important from all sorts of reasons, not just for fiber, like too many reasons to be even named or even like rattled off, but really we need them for too many reasons. So include a wide variety of vegetables and fruits in different colors on a daily basis in your diet. And the way I like to, let's make this actionable. So what would be one serving of a vegetable and fruit would be your hand, the person who's asking the question, their hand size, make it into a fist. And this closed fist, the entire volume of this closed fist, not just what enters inside it, but entire volume, that would be one serving for you, okay, for that person. So, and then your hands are mobile. Yeah, it's not much, right? So that much, you need to eat about 5 servings in a day, right? 5 such servings. So which means like 3 times sabji khali, 2 times fruit kha liya. And again, we don't have to get very, we don't have to make this very difficult. So, you can eat a mix of raw vegetables. You can, if you don't like raw vegetables, bahut thand lag rahi hai, you can eat cooked vegetables. They still retain lots of micronutrients. In fact, lots of vegetables are better. They have better retention of their nutrients after cooking. So don't have this, all or nothing kind of thinking that I'll only have salad or nothing at all. All vegetable, whether you cook it or you eat it raw, is great. Of course, what is greater is that you eat a mix, but you don't have to get too detailed about it. Like don't get lost in the weeds and forget the bigger picture. Too fussy, right? Yes, exactly. And then, as you eat these wide variety of fruits and vegetables, and every time you come across a fruit or a vegetable that you don't eat, simply ask yourself, ye main kyun nahi khata hu? Ye main kyun nahi khati hu? Is it the taste? Is it the texture? Is it the way it's cooked? And then see how you can do some experiment, change the way you cook it or you eat it, change the timing of the food, change, search for a new recipe, because ideally over a period of, a few years of work, come to a stage where you don't say no to any fruit or vegetable. आपके सामने है, आप खा लेंगे, you are this non-fussy eater, and and your palate expands. Your, every action looks easier with repetition. So the first time you may not like it. Research says it takes about 16 tries for a child to start liking a food. So, and I think it's the same for adults. Don't give up. So I know lots of people, nahi, main mooli nahi khati, main gobi kha leti hu, band gobi nahi khati. Don't be so fussy. Start being experimental, because your gut is going to have as many bacteria, as many viruses, fungi, helping you in your immune system response as the variety and diversity on your plate, right? So different colors, all kinds of fruits and vegetables.
So this is one habit which we have to inculcate, right?
Yes, absolutely. High fiber food and lots of fruits and vegetables. Because as we do this, Narinder, then now what does research say? Research says that for immunity, again, all vitamins, all minerals are important. But then what are the top few? Would be vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, right? And lots of, and adequate protein, right? Now, if you see vitamin C, some people get very nutrient specific, vitamin C ke foods research karenge, and फिर अच्छा वो मैं खा लूँ, vitamin D research करेंगे, या फिर zinc research करेंगे, अच्छा ये ले आओ. अरे भाई, if you eat everything, it's very unlikely that you will be deficient. in nutrients. If you're eating everything and you're eating them regularly, and season to season it changes, so you're getting everything through the year, very unlikely that you'll be deficient. Of course, vitamin D, you need to spend about 20 minutes of every day inside in the sun. Right?
And,
so that would be number one.
Anything, Jasneet, if we don't get enough sun, like the last 1 month completely, anything else which we can do to push our vitamin D levels?
Yes, absolutely. So you get, vitamin D capsules, and I would highly recommend that consume about, 400 mg to 1000 mg a day can be taken when you're not getting enough sun. And then IU, and then as the sun goes up, you don't need to continue consuming. What's important here would be, Narinder, that to get these checks done every year so that your vitamin D, levels are checked, and then you know whether you've made up for it or you're still deficient. And then definitely use a supplement if you're not getting it enough sun, such as these days. Yeah.
Great.
The last thing in diet, last point inside your diet would be to include adequate protein, okay, from an immunal response point of view, because your antibodies are nothing but they are bodies made of protein. Okay, so if you're getting enough protein in your diet, then you are giving your body the fuel to make those antibodies. And protein, again, is a food which we generally find difficult to include lots of regularly. So you have to plan for it. At the same time, we don't have to know protein food is superior or inferior to each other. So if you're plant-based, include your dals, mushrooms, right? If you're a vegetarian, include dairy. If you're a non-vegetarian, then, include your eggs and whatever lean sources of protein from animal protein, but don't get too, fixed about it, but make sure you're getting enough protein every single day. And you can include some whey protein or supplement, especially if you're strength training or especially if you're training and, you're regular in your workouts, then include some of that, because that makes up for any lack through nutrition. One final thing inside here would be from an immunal response system would be omega-3 fatty acid, right? So, because that again is very, very important. It's like the biggest anti-inflammatory pill, so to speak. So if you're a vegetarian, you get it in nuts like walnuts, chia seeds, alsi, जिसको हम alsi को क्या कहते हैं?
There is that flax seeds.
Okay. Flax seeds, yes, flax seeds, right? So you include these, and that gives you one kind of omega-3. That kind, which is ALA, however, is not very efficiently converted into the other kind of important omega-3 that we need, which is EPA and DHA. EPA and DHA are mainly found in animal sources, right? So people who are non-vegetarians, oily fish is a good source, but I think more, I don't know about you, but a lot of my clients are not very happy eating fish on a very regular basis. So I ask them to include omega-3, tablet. Again, getting 1000 mg every single day. So that would be on omega-3, which is again very important from an immune response. So, quick summary from this. From the first habit, we're still on the first one, is that care for your gut. Your gut has lots of viruses, bacteria, fungi, which are your frontline defense system. 70% of your immunity actions happen inside your gut. How can you care for your gut? Make sure your bacteria are getting enough food. They eat fiber, so eat fiber-rich food, which is found in fruits, vegetables, dals, unprocessed foods, millets, right? Then include enough protein and omega-3, right? So this is a quick summary of caring for your gut.
Good. Okay.
Okay. The habit number 2 is movement. Okay. Right? Because we, our body, like we said, it's extremely complex system, right? And it's not just what we take in forms of energy, but also how we use the energy that impacts our response to different pathogens. So if you are engaged in regular physical activity,
Uh-huh.
More better chances of fighting different pathogens. You don't just think from your brain. You also, we do something which is called embodied cognition. We actually think better when we are standing or walking. And sometimes, and you would have noticed when you sit on your laptop all day, it's like your brain has frozen by the evening, and you need to get up and get some fresh air, and then your brain is buzzed with ideas, right? So caring for your body totally through movement, adequate regular movement, is again a hugely important action for better immune response. Within movement, if you're not doing anything, start with a daily walk. If you're walking already, include some form of stretching, such as yoga. If you're doing that already, if you're including some yoga already, then perhaps time for you to include some strength training. But basically include a mix. And if you're doing some form of strength training and yoga and walking already, then also include some cardiovascular, challenge like running or, skipping rope or something. So basically start where you are. It's not like you have to start. If you are not doing anything today and you try and make a routine of, I will do strength training on Monday and yoga on Tuesday, believe me, you will be able to sustain it only by the next weekend. And after that, you'll be back to square one. So start where you are, do only that which you feel confident of sustaining, and then add challenge after you've been consistent.
Okay.
Right. And the reason I say this is because, we again try to perfectify, just like we are so, we're so consumed with perfection on nutrients, but also consumed with perfection and movement. Whereas, simple things like I'm taking this call while standing, right? It'll add, by 1,000 steps or so, 800,000 steps by the end of the, half an hour. And it's not just the steps, it's how you feel, it's how you communicate. We literally don't just communicate through our mouths and brains, we communicate through our entire body. So sitting is associated with lots of chronic diseases. Sitting for too long. Okay. Keep standing every half an hour, keep moving your body.
Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful.
So now I'll come to the last one. The last, third habit that I want to talk about is recovery. Okay. Because we again are, generally most of us are action-oriented people, wanting to make fast progress in different aspects of life. And it's impossible to be living in this century, almost impossible to be living in this century and not have stress in our lives, right? The thing, again, I want you to picture here, just like we pictured the gut, picture stress and recovery, okay? What happens is that stress is not bad inherently for human being. We need some stress in our lives, okay? Without some stress, and Narinder's laughing, but I'll explain. Without some stress, we tend to stay the same, not grow, right? So for growth, we need some stress under our butts, okay? Now the problem starts when we get the stress and we don't recover from it, okay? Then what happens is that our resilience or our capacity to take more stress reduces, okay? And then we take more stress, right? We continue doing stressful activities. We continue to, work long hours, which includes, having difficult conversation with other human beings, managing difficult, logistical challenges and tasks, managing relationships, family, everything. All of it is a combination of, all the stresses that living in polluted environments is also stress, right? So when we continue to expose ourselves to enough stress, but we don't recover, we don't do intentional activity to recover from stress, then over a period of time, our body starts breaking down and its resilience to take stress breaks down. And this breakdown results in, disease. Most importantly, like chronic diseases. Right? So stress is not the problem. The problem is that we are not doing intentional activity to recover from the daily stresses of living a human life.
So basically we enter into the negative cycle, right?
Yes, absolutely. And when you were setting up this discussion, you were talking about resilience, right? The ability
Right.
to take what life throws at you, right? So resilience is, some of us are born resilient, but most of us, we need to work on building our resilience. Physical
Mm.
resilience, mental resilience, emotional resilience, we need to work on it. And it's totally learnable, right? It's a learnable skill. So when we talk about resilience, let's talk about two important things today, because again, we have half an hour. We had half an hour. The first is physical stress, okay? Physical exhaustion. And again, it's like a chicken and egg, but the more we're exhausted, the lesser we want to go to sleep, right? The more we want to hang around, watch some TV, get some me time, chill. So that's a difficult conversation to have with yourself. But sleep is your, superpower of building physical resilience.
Right.
Inside your, if you're getting 7 to 8 to 9 hours of sleep on a regular basis, your body is doing everything it needs to do to process the nutrients, to digest the food better, to generate the right hormones, to control the cortisol and the stress hormone, to have your circadian rhythm, falling into place, to control your appetite, to give you the correct hunger signals. Everything is kind of balances out during sleep. But if we don't sleep, then we're kind of running a vehicle which is out of fuel, but usko dhakka laga ke hum gaadi ko chala rahe hain. So sleep is your biggest resilience superpower. Focus on getting adequate 7 to 9 hours of sleep on a daily basis, and try not to have too much of variance between your bedtime on weekends and weekdays. Okay, again, easier said than done. Yeah. And because how you sleep affects how you feel the next day, right? You don't
True.
sleep well, you've been watching Netflix through till 2 baje raat ke, then you wake up feeling like a ton of bricks is sitting on your head. You won't be, and आपको सबको पता होगा मुझे बैक्टीरिया को फीड करना है, मुझे फ्रूट्स एंड वेजिटेबल्स खाने हैं, बट आप कुछ नहीं कर पाएंगे, because your that part of the brain which helps you do the right decisions, it is sleeping. It hasn't recovered. So so to be able to do the right thing, to be able to make the right decisions, not do impulsive things, it's important to have enough sleep in your schedule, right? And the second thing is, what are you doing to activate the parasympathetic nervous system? What are you doing to simply calm down during the day? So what 5-minute actions can you do to have better emotional resilience to different stressors, right? And again, this can be very simple, such as taking an outdoor walk, which I know may be an issue these days, but outdoor walk, deep breathing, hot shower, singing, music, listening to your favorite music, finding out things that give you joy, satisfaction, and hope, and making the time to do them on a daily basis, even if it's for 5 minutes. Even a 5-minute daily action will help you grow your resilience, and your stress response will be much better.
Okay. Lovely. This is really, really very, very educative session for me. And, one thing I must say, Jasneet, that, there is some issue with the connection today. I think my service provider has some issues in the area today. They have sent the message. So I do not know how clear this session has been going on, and if we can retrieve the recording and repost it. But it has been a very beautiful session. And just in case there are some issues in the network, and by way of which our listeners have not been able to listen to this clearly, I would really request that we have a repeat session for this particular topic. It has been really, really enriching.
Okay. Thank you, Narinder. We're very happy, to talk through this. And today, I think I was talking like this fast express train, जिसको बहुत सारे स्टेशन जल्दी से पार करने हैं.
But very informative, a lot of pointers, and super session today. Super session.
Thank you so much, Narinder. I hope the audience were able to hear us and see us, and they took away some important pointers. I can see a lot of people were live, so hopefully this was okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So do let us know, friends, that if the session was helpful, and useful. And also, if you were able to hear this clearly. If not, we will try to do this session once again, because this has been a very, very informative and a beautiful session. So thank you very much, Jasneet, for tuning in with us, and see you sometime soon again on our details live sessions. Thank you.
Absolutely. You're most welcome, Narinder. Thank you.
Thanks.